doing two Dutch auctions. In the first Dutch auction, which is the pre-sale, there will be 15% sold. So we are not doing any marketing actually. So we haven't spent any funds on marketing or advertisement so far, and we're keeping it public so that still anybody can participate if they want to. So anybody that found us can participate in this early bird sale, this pre-sale.
How's the allocation towards founders and for development and things like that?
There's no direct allocation to any team member or advisor. 35% go into the company and they're vested over 2 years, so that there's like a steady payout. So not only have we deliver, so the second sale will be 50% of the tokens, so 15 pre-sale, 50 main sale. In between we release the code, so on the testnet. So that's the current plan.
Is it an ERC20 token?
Yes.
Why are you going with that?
It's the most common form and everybody knows about this, so it's just this.
Why are you confident that Liquid is going to work? And it's, I mean, from what you say, I got it that you believe in it is actually, going to make the blockchain transactions available to everybody. So where is your confidence in the project coming from?
It's, I would say it's well, multiple years of experience in the field, and the fact that we already have the prototype running in our testnet, in our private testnet. So, I mean, we have shown a demo on YouTube a month ago of how it would work, and I think it's, I mean, from what you can see also in this YouTube video, it's very easy to just send funds off-chain. You can register in an off-chain process, so you can actually join the network without doing any on-chain transaction. So this means that it's really cheap to join the network, and then you can directly receive payments off-chain.
Why is it possible to do that with yours, whereas you can't do that with, for example, the Lightning Network?
It's just the way that Lightning is built. It could maybe there could be some extensions being ported to Lightning as well. I mean, we would be happy to explore that, but I haven't looked into this.
You're an academic, and you also speak on many conferences, and people who can meet you in different places. But if this thing takes off and becomes like really widely used, you're going to become a very powerful person, right? So, provided it happens, it's just like, let's see, this like Liquid has got like, what shall we say, like 2 million users, right? Is that a lot?
There's a lot.
I mean, what are you going to be doing? Where do you see your role?
I don't think I would be powerful. I think because the code is open source, right? So the technology will be available to anybody. Anybody can run hubs. And there will be people who provide improvements that we haven't thought about. So it's really, I see it rather as a community-driven process of building a network, of keeping blockchains decentralized. I mean, we will be known for those that initiated liquidity and that helped in a certain direction, but there are many other players that also are very key to this entire process. So I don't think, I mean, we will by far not be the only ones.
But you might become extremely rich.
How?
With the tokens?
Oh, right. With the tokens, I mean, the company might get rich, and then depending on how the company funds the development and our involvements are, then certainly there is a compensation to the founders for their work. But there's no direct token allocation in the sale. So we have to keep the work going, basically.
Is the Liquid network decentralized and censorship resistant?
Very good question. So a hub, what a hub can do, in the worst case, he can censor payments. So it's basically like a miner. If he chooses to not include your transaction in the blockchain, then, well, you cannot do your transaction. Like in the mining, like in Bitcoin mining or Ethereum mining, there are different miners, right, that will receive your transaction, and they can include your transaction in the blockchain. And the same goes for liquidity. If you have currently an allocation with a hub that doesn't want to forward your payments, that doesn't basically validate your off-chain payments, you can choose to go to another hub. So in a sense, it's It's a decentralized system, I believe, and I would call it decentralized because you have the flexibility to go with any hub that you want to. And the worst that can happen is that one of them, or multiple of them, denies your payments, but then you can switch to another one.
Does it take a lot of resources to be a hub?
It's much more low cost than a two-party payment channel hub. So there's certainly an amount of operations that is required. So you need to have a hub, you need a team of people that are dedicated to this operation, to maintain the uptime, because you want to have a good service level agreement for your customers. So there's quite some work involved in that. But we believe it's manageable, and we have designed it in the sense that it's manageable for businesses.
You know, when we talk to people who are involved in blockchain or who've got blockchain-based project, everybody's so kind of, you know, authentic, enthusiastic, and they have like, you know, great ideas, and they're very modest at the same time. But then when you look at the big concepts, big companies, like quite often people at the top are becoming like, I don't know, greedy, like their ego grows and so on.
Okay.
And somehow they get disconnected from, you know, the rest and the normal life. How will you kind of make yourself, like, you know, stay who you are and stick to your ideals?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't thought about it much, to be honest. But what I always like when I work with my students, some of them, they have never heard about blockchain, and I think it's important to always remember that there's a time where you have to get used to a technology and it's new to you, and that this particular person might bring really many valuable things to blockchain. Right? So as long as you keep teaching it in a way that you realize, oh, this is actually okay, there's a great opportunity to teach this person and to explain it so that the whole system can grow. I think as long as you enjoy this, you should be fine. You should be connected.
Do you think you'll be able to explain how blockchain works to basically everybody, or that the people need certain level of education or IQ perhaps to comprehend the concept?
It's a very good question. So actually sometimes I tell my students, if I give them the task to describe something in their master thesis or bachelor thesis or PhD thesis, I tell them you should explain this so that your grandma understands it.
That's what Einstein said.
Okay, I didn't know, but I think that's very important. You should basically really nug it down to the very basics that you can explain, and it's always possible. You can always simplify. Yeah.
But when it comes to ICOs, and you were saying how, you know, like some companies, there was a problem because they cannot deliver, and we now here in Zurich, Switzerland, where the, you know, regulation is really